Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Before we open our meeting, please turn your phones to silent or vibrate. Thank you so much. And without further ado, today is Monday, November 10th, 2025. This is our regular Board of Education meeting. Please stand and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The mission of the White Plains Public Schools is to educate and inspire all students while nurturing their dreams so they learn continually, think critically, pursue their aspirations, and contribute to a diverse and dynamic world. Next, we will have comments, announcements from the board. I'll just start off with quickly just a couple. A number of us are coming from the Hall of Fame, where Joe spoke. Great evening, well attended. I think it was one of the best attended in a while.
Yeah.
In a while. It was really well attended, so it's just a testament to the life of our community and the support for our athletics. We also had, and I'm going to look at Jessica, we had our trunk or treat, which a number of us attended at the high school, and Jessica kind of led the charge on that. And we all joined in like a good orchestra and had a great time with our students there. There was also another trunk or treat, I think like a week or two earlier, with Ridgeway, Mamaroneck, and Church Street. So I was able to go there and just hear the accolades in terms of how things were going, transportation, everything. So it was really good to just have a great day with the kids, with some staff, and to get that kind of feedback. I also had opportunity to go to the Youth Bureau Gala, myself and Valerie, we were there. There were awards to community members, but I just want to take another minute to really recognize the Youth Bureau and their incredible partnership with us in terms of really just ensuring or help ensuring that they provided the resources for our students for before and after school care. I can tell you I did not hear anything at all. And we were well staffed, our children taken care of. So really just another thank you, as you had done earlier, Kane, another thank you to them for their valuable partnership. Kane?
Yeah, I have a senior this year, and she's, started the college application process, and my wife and I attended White Plains High School, had a FAFSA boot camp in conjunction with Latino U College Access. And my wife and I are both in education, and it's just shocking how little we even know about the process of FAFSA, of TAP for New York State money, and all these forms and everything that you have to complete. So we sat and we met Pam and Shirley that are here tonight. Pam is here tonight. She's going to talk to us a little bit about the organization, and they partnered with our guidance department and counselors, and I think I know I was one of 20 people just waiting for my appointment, and they saw a lot of parents. They walked us through the application process. We filled out the FAFSA forms, and then we were able to go home and complete some more. But again, 2 people in the business, and we knew so little about it, so I think it's a great free resource that we offer to parents, and we took full advantage of it. So I'm looking forward to hearing from Pam a little later during the public portion. Yeah.
Thank you. Jessica? Okay.
I have a few things.
Yeah, we'll go quickly.
I'll go quick.
Thank you, please.
I started off this morning at Ridgeway for their Veterans Day program. Very moving. Every child was involved. Every child took it seriously. It was such a learning experience for them, and it really adds meaning to the day. It's not just a day off tomorrow. There's actually, a lot of meaning to it. I also went to the Veterans Day program at Eastview on Friday, which I try to get to every year as well. Again, just really moving. The kids take it so seriously. Just the music, the tribute to the veterans, the video production, just very, very moving. Saturday night, I attended the Theater Unlimited's Play On. It was really funny. I really, really enjoyed it. We held a community budget meeting that our board members were on a Zoom with the community to get some ideas, because we're always working on our budget. GW had math night, some of us went to. Post Road also had math night. I went to Ridgeway's walk, bike, roll to school. It was quite a crowd. It was actually the biggest crowd I had seen doing that this year. PTA council meeting. I also went with Jessica to the Library Foundation's 30th anniversary celebration, which was really nice. And we also really value our collaboration, with the White Plains Library. And the other thing I want to mention is just that as board members, we appreciate really all the opportunities that come to us for professional development through the Westchester Putnam School Boards Association, through the New York State School Boards Association, and through the National School Boards Association. So I attended, a bunch of things through them, and I always appreciate having the opportunity then to bring that information or those resources back. The New York State School Boards Association had its annual convention. I was able to go there in person. I know Jessica attended virtually. And I'll just mention a couple of the highlights. You saw all the slides. I sent the slides to all the board members so that you have all the information as well. One of the things I really want to accent is the Dignity Index, which was presented by Tim Shriver, who has been the longtime chair of the International Special Olympics and is part of the Kennedy clan. But he and others devised something called the Dignity Index, which is really a scale to sort of look at how we interact with each other and how we interact with dignity, or should interact with dignity, seeing the person, in front of us. And it's really quite valuable, I will say, especially in the world we're living in right now. I went to some things on DEI, education law, special education, child exploitation online, which was quite scary. And I know we've done some work with, online safety. It's something, we and the PTAs partner about often. And I guess, so really appreciate having these opportunities to learn from and bring resources back.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everybody. I first have to share regrets from our ex officio student board members. Both Afrosa and Charis had competing events this evening, and they did reach out and let us know, and we said, no problem, take care of what you need to do, and we'll see you next month. I also, before we have two presentations this evening, but I thought maybe I'll just go through my quick updates first, and then we'll welcome our folks who are going to be giving presentations. Welcome MAS. It's MAS night tonight. Yay! You did it.
Trunk or treat.
Yeah, I have to say too, also the trunk or treat and all of the spooktaculars and celebrations all throughout the school district were really wonderful. Huge thanks to the PTAs and the PTA Council for all that support. And as a reminder, we're really working to get 100% participation from everybody in the PTA. So if you haven't yet joined the PTA, please consider doing so today. Really great opportunities for our students. I also need to, again, fantastic celebration this evening, welcoming the class of 2025 at the White Plains High School Athletics Hall of Fame. But there's another special caveat there too. Coach Singleton has officially stepped away from cross country, and he has coached for 50 years. So yeah, absolutely. And I'll tell you, he probably started coaching when he was about 3 because, you know.
He said 4.
4, okay. But thank you to Coach Singh and you know, amazing dedication and support to our Tigers. Veterans Day celebrations were also beautiful. Eastview never disappoints, and all of our elementary schools, I know Shirley mentioned Ridgeway, really reflect on the importance of honoring and thanking our veterans and our community. Of course, the holiday is tomorrow and schools are closed. We are moving into the holiday season, which is not always easy for so many people. All of our schools, all of our pantries are collecting food, and we will continue to do so. We're also working with our community partners for anybody in our community who may need additional support, and anybody who has a question or a concern. You can feel free to reach out to any of us. You can certainly feel free to reach out to me in a confidential fashion, and we can connect you with people who can help. We know the holidays, while they're wonderful, can also be really stressful and really challenging. So we're here for you.
Thank you, Kane. My name is Dr. Jimenez, Dr. Pamela Jimenez, and I'm the Director of Programs for Luca. And we are a small nonprofit organization that's been around since 2012. We've supported White Plains. White Plains School District High School has been one of our first high schools. We work in 8 districts throughout Westchester County, and we empower low-income, first-generation students to and through college. For those that need it, we offer bilingual, culturally relevant programs. But Luca provides resources, support, mentorship to students who need access to higher education. We help them persist through college. We help them get graduate career ready. And we do it hopefully so they could have little to no debt once they're done. Our programs include college access, college success, college completion, college readiness, financial aid, community outreach to advance educational equity and expand opportunities. So we're currently in 8 school districts. Like I said, White Plains is one of our largest. We work very closely with the high school. Sarah Hall and all the counselors have nominated about more than 80 students to our program, and in any given year, we accept between 70 and 100 students. So White Plains is one of the ones that is heavily represented. We also offer, through the support of the state legislators, we offer these boot camps where I met Kane and his wonderful wife, and we did their financial aid application, and we do this so that we can reach the entire White Plains community. We do this in all 8 districts that we have. We also support White Plains by hiring your graduates. So we have hired a few high school graduates, and currently our program coordinator is a high school graduate who graduated also from Hunter College. So we're happy to support, and like I said, we have, in any given year, we have 46 to 50 high schoolers that are nominated to our program and accepted to our program. So White Plains is very well represented at Luca. And we're here to support White Plains. We love our partnership. We love your students. And anything we can do. We offer the boot camps every single year, so everyone is eligible to participate. Come by, and we'll support you and help you. So thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for coming. It is a wonderful program, supports so many of our students, and we're really so proud to be part of it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Absolutely.
Proud to have you.
So we're going to welcome Chris, Joe, and Joe this evening. Gentlemen, you ready? It's a great update. We're really looking forward to this.
Good evening, everyone. Again, pleasure to see you all tonight. Joe Cicerano from H2M, architect and studio director, currently working on all things White Plains. So myself and Chris Pearson from Triton Construction are going to go through some of our capital project updates. We'll pass back and forth. I'll just highlight finally some refreshing new images to kick off our presentation rather than the rendering, because we finally have some mass and something visual to the high school edition. If anyone had the opportunity to see, we had some steel going up this week, which is always a very exciting milestone to see a project come out of the ground. And we have some of the library work at both Church Street and Ridgeway represented. So with that, we'll go to the next slide, and Chris, I'll pass it over to you.
Sure, just a quick overview. We're closing down all of the HVAC, the filtration upgrades, the White Plains High School, Highlands, Eastview, Church, GW, all complete and all heading towards final wrap-ups on the budgets. There are two still remaining. Ridgeway Elementary, which started later, is also done, but just starting closeout at this point. Mamaroneck Elementary School, all the work is done. It's just the final stretch with the new power line from Con Ed coming in, which so the idea to have that wrapped up in Con Ed, helping us before the spring, so we can get the AC running at Mamaroneck. And then, like Joe said, we have photographs to share with the high school innovation wing, Rochambeau, as well as the completed 4 elementary school projects at GW, Church, Ridgeway, Mamaroneck, which was a combination of libraries and surveys, and also some bones and guts in other parts of those schools.
Sure. I'll touch on the few projects that we have received SED approval from. So it's an electric service upgrade to this building. That was several years in the making, as well as some last remaining restrooms at Mamaroneck that haven't had the benefit of previous alterations. So we have SED approval on both those projects. We're going to be scheduling, along with Triton and the district, a bid schedule and targeting summer 2026 construction for the restrooms. The nice thing about the electric service upgrade is that it's not necessarily beholden to summer construction because it is here. That's going to be a little further back in the timeline. Switchgear is still one of those items in construction that has very long lead items. So the good thing about the electric service upgrade is that your transformer is already here on site. We were able to procure that with Con Ed. The long lead item, like I said, is going to be the switchgear once we go ahead and bid that project. So dates coming there. A couple other exciting things to talk about. So the last piece of design from the major bond and capital improvements is some Phase 2 work at the high school. That's going to be going up to SED as a completed package for review before the end of this month. And then we have a couple of additional air conditioning projects and a serving line project at the high school that we'll touch on later in the presentation. I'll take your tray, Chris.
Yeah, I mentioned on the previous slide, Ridgeway, the HVAC project's done. It's headed into closeout with the prime contractors at this point. And now it's just the Con Ed upgrade service to get enough power so we can start up the AC in the springtime. That's really it.
Is the MAS transformer the large green box in front of the building? Is that?
It is.
It is, right?
It is. So that comes directly from Con Edison. That particular unit is a prototype model that they share with us, which is even larger than the previous iteration that was to be there. The good thing is that it's finally on site. Everything is wired to and from that transformer. The last piece of information that's missing is a power line from the street that Con Ed was bringing elsewhere.
Is that buried or is that? Do you know?
Portion of it is overhead to the poles at the street, and then from the closest pole, it will go underground to the transformer. So the infrastructure's in, the conduit's in, we're just waiting for that final tie-in from Con Edison. And again, they had to do some work off property to bring the power to it. Want to take these, Chris? Sure.
The high school innovation wing, as Joe mentioned, the foundations are done. Steel, you can see steel going up. It's a great time because you actually see what the volume of the space might actually become. So it's always great. And all the primes are working well together. Everybody's playing well in the sandbox. And there's a reason why there's the old thing about getting out of the ground. You got out of the ground with no major headaches, which is great. And so from there, and then Joe can speak to just, the back, the submittal, the paperwork process, the submittals are going in, getting approved, and the typical back and forth between approvals, resubmissions, and then final approval. So that's all going well. There are no hangups there. From what we can tell, no problems with any of the long lead items, the exterior wall, your windows, your mechanical equipment. So making good progress. We're on schedule to be substantially complete in that July 17th to 2027 date. And, once the exterior wall goes up, that gives you an opportunity at times to try to step on the schedule and speed it up. And we'll try, and it's in the prime's best interest to do that also. So, but you kind of want to be enclosed first before we get to that point. And then Rochambeau, again, I think the pictures will show you best what's happening, but it's an occupied school that's being phased on an after-hours, weekend basis to take advantage of the school year, so that, and the team and the primes there are doing great. So, and then there's some and that's on the interior reno that's happening, and then there's some heavy work coming, which will be the window replacement, which will most like the majority of which will be that summer of '26, and as well as the air conditioning condensers. So, but the pictures will say it a lot better than I can, to be honest.
So just on these first slide, a couple of recent construction photos from the Innovation Wing last week. So top left, you see some of the less exciting stuff, but some underground plumbing and infrastructure for the future Culinary Arts Lab. And then the other three pictures are probably the shining superstars, but you know, it's always great to see a crane swinging steel and actually to see some vertical elements coming out of the ground. So again, it's just a long time coming to get to this point. A lot of work went into the ground that you'll never see, but in terms of infrastructure, drainage, foundations, utilities, et cetera, those have all been well underway, and now we're finally, as Chris said, coming out of the ground, and we have some volume to see. Absolutely.
Can you just orient me there? So that's the existing school building in the back of the plumbing?
That's correct. So in that top left building, we're standing in where the new addition will be, and we're facing back towards the A wing of the high school.
Okay, all right.
So North Street is to your right in that photo, and we're facing the A wing. So that plumbing you see there is the approximate location of, like I said, the Culinary Arts Lab. So again, all these little things need to happen well in advance of some of the great equipment and curriculum space going in, but progress is underway, and as Chris said, so far the project's on schedule and going well.
So that's like right on the same side where the bridge will be?
Yes, it is, Dr. Ricker. So again, to orient yourself in that picture, the bridge would be off to your left in that picture. So, correct.
St. Brendan. Kane Letizia. Breezeway.
Yeah. All right. And some additional pictures. So these are actually some of the interior alterations at Rochambeau. So Rochambeau as a whole, we've got new HVAC work going in, we've got classroom alterations, and eventually we will have window replacements as part of this project. As Chris mentioned, we're handling the classrooms on a phased approach because the district is able to offer some swing space. If anyone hasn't had the opportunity to be in Rochambeau before, it's a wonderful building. It's got some great character, and what's nice about this is in as many cases as possible, we're trying to maintain, you can see there, the existing wood trim, the darker color tones, and even refinishing some of the wood floors. So this is going to give a real nice refresh to that building, as well as provide heating, air conditioning, and new windows to the spaces. So we're excited to see that finally underway as well. All right, we mentioned already, and I know some of the board members had the opportunity at the end of August to walk through some of the elementary schools. So the renovation and infrastructure work at Church Street, George Washington, Mamaroneck, and Ridgeway are substantially complete, and we're in the closeout phase with all 9 prime contractors. You have a couple of the nearing finish shots of Church Street and Mamaroneck libraries there. And even some of the less exciting things, but all important things that happened as part of this project. Major roof replacements at Mamaroneck, new HVAC units at George Washington, and a new handicap accessible lift at Mamaroneck as well. Okay, we touched on these before, but we do have 2 projects that the design is complete and we have SED approval for. Again, it's the electric service upgrade to Ed House and the restrooms at Mamaroneck. So we'll be scheduling a bid timeline in the coming weeks with the district and with Triton, and we'll be targeting summer 2026 construction for those restrooms. And lastly, just to talk about the InDesign future work. So the last piece of design work at the high school that will be going up to SED before the end of this month. This is the project Lead the Way, corridor widening, handicap accessibility improvements, and security doors. And then some future work that we've been coordinating on with the district. So with some savings from the current HVAC projects, which addressed all full-size classrooms, we're going to target to condition some additional spaces, which include gymnasiums, resource rooms, and offices. And then serving lines at the high school has been on the docket for some time, and we had the opportunity to walk those spaces with facilities, with the high school administration, with food service, and determine what's possible in terms of updating the food service lines. And we're looking forward to putting those projects into design in the near future.
So our original plan of doing just the classrooms, there were savings that we are now
We're
able to
gonna do
put
it.
into gymnasiums. That's awesome. And no additional cost.
That's right. Yeah, so if you were, you know, you get a move up ceremony
Right.
in the gymnasium, it's warm in the summer, no additional cost because of savings. We're looking,
Bids came in,
Yep.
More favorable, and
Yep.
so that enabled us to be able to now look at this second tier space. that-
very exciting, very exciting.
At
Yeah.
no extra cost. At no extra.
It's a great job.
Right. No, thank you.
Thank you.
And again, just with the air conditioning, I think as everyone's aware, you know, the state did put in a temperature threshold this year. While that doesn't mandate air conditioning, districts need to have a plan to deal with occupied spaces. Gymnasiums and large spaces are included in that overall. So, you know, by having this, you'll be a leg up to some of the surrounding districts for sure.
Yeah, White Plains is absolutely leading the way in terms of making sure that the environmental conditions are conducive to learning, no matter what time of year it is.
Excellent.
Well said.
It's practicing that on the way.
That was a close one.
So with that, that wraps up our capital project update, and be happy to field any questions if you have.
Very exciting.
Can you talk a little bit more about what's going to be in the new wing? Because a lot of people ask about what's going to be in there. So can you talk a little bit more about, like you said, the culinary arts, but what other areas are going to be in there? If you can-
Your programmatic elements, so I think the building is appropriately named the Innovation Wing, and it focuses on a mix of CTE, which is Career and Technical Education, the arts, and special education. So you have some special education spaces of programmatic elements that'll be, you know, mixed in with general population with the school. You've got culinary arts lab, you've got art studios, photography, presentation space, ceramics, metallurgy, STEAM lab, and culinary arts, as you mentioned. So it's really
Dance,
dance studio,
photography, right, dark room.
photography in a dark room.
In the garden, the
Right.
hydroponic, right?
And then also the spaces, while there's still some other programmatic elements in function, but yeah, I know there's been several ongoing conversations with BOCES about potentially bringing in
Yep.
additional CTE programs into
Yep.
the space, and you'll now have the, you know, the available space to do so.
And the flexibility to change as necessary the curriculum and the offerings to the students based upon what the market is dictating and what our kids want to learn.
Correct. Again, there's a handful of spaces that are a little more static, like again, culinary arts lab, a lot of piping, a lot of infrastructure, but to
Yep.
Dr. Ricker's point, we also have some spaces that are essentially left a little more flexible to adapt to programmatic changes.
That'd be great for the future.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited to see it, and again, you're gonna have some really great spaces within that building that, again, are unique, and, you know, that not every district unfortunately is able to offer, so it's a long time to get to this point, we're excited to see it, coming to fruition.
Yeah. I mean, it's all really encouraging, and the savings is, you know, just an indicator of how well funds have been managed for us to move forward in this manner. And it's just really important that our community knows that we're looking at saving, and we are looking at monies that we save to reinvest in things that we can improve, upgrade, or build now. So thank you as well.
And we'll be able to most likely reduce the borrowing that was originally authorized because of those savings associated with the renovations and the additions. So we'll firm those numbers up as we get a little further along, but it does appear to be
Good.
that that's.
Yeah, it's very
And as you
encouraging.
point out, this is phase two, and it's not like we weren't planning and expecting to do these kinds of additional renovations. We're just able to do them sooner and cheaper.
Co-sign. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
It's now a real pleasure to welcome Dr. Deb Hand, Dr. Kathy Barpolis, and Chris is also here with us this evening. And I want to say, you know, between Mr. Mattia, Dr. Hand, Dr. Barpolis, all of our colleagues, the constant focus on student achievement and growth, it never stops. And so always identifying ways to support our children and support our colleagues in the classroom to make sure that each child, like our mission, is truly working toward their particular potential. So, Dr. Hand, the floor is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I just want to thank you for providing the opportunity to present our preliminary data from June 2025. In advance of the presentation, I want to share my appreciation to the trustees of the Board of Education, Dr. Ricca, and to all of our administrators, district and school level, teachers, teaching assistants, and support staff for the dedication and commitment to the academic achievement and ongoing growth of our students. So thank you very much. Can't do it alone, that's for sure. It's a team effort. So our first slide illustrates the growth in proficiency across grades 3, 4, and 5 on the New York State ELA exam. In grade 3, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4, levels 3 and 4, increased by 14% from the 2023 to 2024 school year, with 53% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. In grade 4, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels in 3 and 4 increased by 7% from 2023 to 2024, with 50% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. In grade 5, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4 increased by 14% from the 2023-2024 school year, with 53% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. So we did see growth in ELA at our elementary schools across grades 3, 4, and 5, and the same across individual schools as well.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
If you go back to that, the 53% on grade 5, those were the 43% in grade 4 last year,
Yes.
correct? So it really went up by 10%.
Yes, if you look at the cohort data, of course, there are different children sometimes in the cohorts. So we're careful with that. But yes, when you're looking at it as you move across, you can also compare what's happening at 3rd grade to 4th grade if you're looking at the next years.
Thank you.
Thank you. So in response to these data results, we are focusing intentionally on curriculum instruction in the classroom, as well as aligning support outside the classroom at the elementary level for ELA. In the dual language classes, we are implementing the American Reading Company, or ARC, core units, which have been phasing in over the past 3 years. ARC Core is a curricular resource that was developed specifically for a dual language learning environment. A new enhancement or advancement this year was to implement the Arts and Letters curricular resource from Great Minds in our non-dual language classes. Arts and Letters is a core curricular resource that includes comprehension, vocabulary, writing, and fluency instruction. Arts and Letters, as well as the ARC Core, are both knowledge building in design and aligned with the science of reading research. With these core curriculum resources, we are focusing on complex text with rich themes that include interdisciplinary connections. We are making connections with the content areas of social studies and science, and involving our art teachers and librarians in our beautifully new-built libraries in support of student learning as they dive into content-rich themes and complex text. In addition, we are enhancing writing instruction and including writing instruction intervention settings to bolster both writing and reading performance for our striving learners. So those are just some of the new things that we're doing curriculum-wise in the elementary school for ELA. Now in grades 6 through 8, we had a decrease in proficiency of 7% from 2023 to 2024 as we move to the 2024-2025 school year with a 35% proficiency rating for our students on the New York State ELA exam. In grade 7, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4 increased by 9% from 2023-2024 to 2024-25, with 51% of our students meeting proficiency in this year. In grade 8, we had a slight decrease of proficiency of 1% from 2023 to 2024 to the 2024-2025 school year, with 46% of our students reaching proficiency on the New York State ELA exam. In response to the data, we will be conducting an ELA curriculum review across our middle school grades. starting in grade 6 of this year. The review will include an analysis of shared instructional priorities, literacy research, and available curricular resources for study, recommendation, and selection. In addition, the coordinator of ELA and Social Studies pre-K through 6 is working closely with the Director of World Languages and Multilingual Learner Programs K through 12 to reduce barriers for our multilingual learners. Our middle school students need to read and discuss complex text that are aligned to grade level standards and grade level content. Supporting teachers to analyze the NWE data and provide targeted supports to increase student growth and achievement. Other areas of focus include academic goal setting with our students and the continued refinement of portfolios that reflect growth, goals, progress towards mastery, and their journey toward achieving the attributes identified in the portrait of a graduate. So we are seeing that we are either flatlining at middle school or even having that reduction in 6th grade. Very concerned about that. Want to make sure that we have the right supports in place for our students as we move forward.
Dr. Hand,
Hmm?
the 6th grade, would that review include a discussion about when, a few years ago, we removed critical literacy from 6th grade? And
I think we'll be
would that
looking at everything in the review, including all levels of what the, ELA in 6th grade that we offer.
And they also have the NWEA, right?
And they have the NWA as well. And one of the other things, and we're going to stay open-minded with what we're looking at and the research that we're going to be studying, but when the students are coming up with these very rich knowledge-based curriculums in literacy, we want to make sure that we have that as a smooth transition as you move into 6th grade.
So the arts and letters is K-5.
Arts and letters is K-5, and the art core is also K-5.
And the program at the middle school is?
And the program in middle school is more of a teacher design program that's also aligned with the standards, but really needs to have, an insightful look deep into it this year. So we're going to start with 6th grade and then move forward with 7th and 8th grade. Okay. So now for the math. Looking at math, in grade 3, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4 increased by 13% from the 2023-2024 school year, with 57% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. In grade 4, the percentage of students meeting the proficiency levels of 3 and 4 illustrated a slight increase of 1% from 2023 to 2024, with 59% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. In grade 5, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4 increased by 13% from the 2023-2024 school year, with 56% of our students meeting proficiency in 2024-2025. So again, you see nice growth. You also see in 4th grade math, there's a little bit of flatlining, but we're very proud of the results that we're getting with the attention that we're paying to the curriculum and student learning, growth, and achievement. In math for grades 3 through 5, we are continuing the implementation of the Envision Math 2024 updated version, which is in alignment with the New York State math standards. The coordinator of STEM pre-K through 6, who I want to say oversees science as well as mathematics. I know there was a question if we had a coordinator for science down at the elementary level, and we do. So the coordinator of STEM is ensuring that all new teachers, as well as teachers that are new to a grade level, are receiving support and professional learning on the core resource. As teachers move around from grade level to grade level, the curriculum changes, so you have to make sure that you support that, and we do have new teachers coming in each year. We are also expanding problem-based learning with the Let's Investigate component of the Envision Math program, which focuses on promoting exploration and conceptual understanding prior to introducing specific learning content. We actually got to see that in action at a recent George Washington equity visit that we had. We are continuing to work with Dr. Paul Riccomini, who is a professor from Penn State University, as a consultant to implement strategies to enhance long-term retention and mathematical fluency, and assessment data is used to inform instructional decisions and promote student learning in the classroom. For math in grades 6 through 8, We had no change in proficiency from 2023-2024 to 2024-2025, with 41% of our students reaching proficiency on the New York State Math Assessment. In grade 7, the percentage of students meeting proficiency levels of 3 and 4 slightly decreased by 1%, from 2023-2024 to 2024-2025, with 49% of our students meeting proficiency. In grade 8, we had an increase in proficiency of 9%, from 2023-2024 to 2024-2025, with 59% of our students reaching proficiency on the New York State Math Assessment. Again, we're seeing that flat performance or a little bit of growth, but we definitely want to move forward. In middle school math, we are facilitating targeted analysis of state assessment data through item-level review to identify areas of strengths as well as areas in need of intentional focus. Teachers are engaged in ongoing professional learning focused on data interpretation from the NWEA Fall Administration to inform instructional decisions and support student learning in the classroom. Dr. Paul Riccomini will be working with the middle school teachers, centering on high-impact strategies for scaffolding and retention. He's done a lot of research on how you review mathematical concepts and how you bring up different concepts in a spiraling manner, but in a very intentional manner of repetition. The Director of Science, Engineering, Mathematics, and CTE 7 through 12 is working with the teachers to conduct an item analysis of the grade 8 math exam, the Algebra 1 exam, and geometry assessments. We actually did a very deep dive with Chris DiMattia on the geometry regions that we administered in June. Found out a lot of information to help us move forward. In response to the item analysis, they will be identifying any learning gaps and implementing responsive instructional strategies. We will conduct a comprehensive review of curriculum, standards, and assessments in math for grades 6 through 8, including horizontal as well as vertical instructional coherence, meaning are all the teachers in the 6th grade teaching the same mathematical concepts and at the same level of mastery. And that would be true not only horizontally, but vertically moving up through the grade levels. Is there coherence within and across the grade levels? In grade 5, we had 46% of our students reaching proficiency on the grade 5 New York State Science Assessment in 2024-2025, which was an increase in proficiency of 12% from 2023-2024. And I do believe that, sometimes it is helpful for you to realize like the New York State averages for these proficiency levels. And I believe, if I can find it quickly, the New York State average for proficiency on the grade 5 exam was 45, and we were at 46. So right there at that level of, of the state average. In science at the elementary level, we have fully implemented the 3-year phase-in of the Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES Science 21 curriculum in grades K through 5. This curriculum is aligned with the New York State Science Learning Standards and supports 3-dimensional learning that includes science and engineering practices, cross-cutting concepts, and disciplinary core ideas. Students are having additional hands-on inquiry-based experiences by engaging in the 4 science investigations spanning grades 3 through 5 that are a part of the assessment in preparation for the assessment, but not necessarily a part of the actual assessment, but they are in preparation for the assessment. And that also shows you how the assessment is cumulative, right? It goes across the grade levels. It's just not a 1 grade level assessment, although they take it in grade 5. In addition, we have Project Lead the Way at the elementary level that supports engineering and design, as well as the New York State Science Learning Standards and the Computer Science and Digital Fluency Standards. In grade 8, we had 53% of our students reaching proficiency on the grade 8 New York State Science Assessment in 2024-2025. This was our first year of administration as we were administering the Earth Science regions in 2023-2024. So again, going back to the 53%, just because this is kind of, find it quickly. For the New York State average, for grade 8, did I say the wrong thing before? It was 44%. So the state average was 44%. In our first year of administration, our proficiency rating was 53%.
And Deb,
Mm-hmm.
just to point out that the science exams are only given in grades 5 through 8.
Right.
That's why we don't have data for those other
Right.
grades.
They're only 5 through 8. That is correct. Okay. So in terms of the science work that we're doing at the middle school level, engage in identifying and exploring complex text to strengthen students' ability to interpret data, construct explanations, and communicate scientific understandings. Use the results of the New York State Science Assessments in grade 5 and grade 8 to facilitate discussions and implementation of instructional and pedagogical shifts to enhance student performance. Begin a comprehensive review of science curriculum materials across grades 6 through 8 to ensure that students engage with high-quality supportive content that builds readiness as the students progress through the grade levels of middle school. And again, students are engaged in additional hands-on inquiry-based experiences with the science investigations that span grades 6 through 8. So the same way that we have those science investigations at the elementary level, we have them at the middle school level. And in grades 7 through 8, the Director of Science, Engineering, Math, and CTE 7 to 12 is facilitating monthly curriculum assessment review meetings with the teachers in support of shifting instructional practices to better align with the New York State Science Learning Standards. And as we know, we've been talking about for a few years now, the Science Learning Standards are new, and now the assessments are being designed in alignment with the standards. So the next slide, I have two region slides. I have one slide without the bioregions and one slide with the bioregions. So I'll start with this, but I'll flip, but they're the same slides except for the fact that the bioregions was the first administration of the new test this year. For our regions results, we used 3 years of data from 2022 to 2023 to the 2023-2024 school year and then 2024-2025 school year to illustrate the trends in performance. Our proficiency in Algebra 1 was 65% for June 2025. In geometry, 56% of our students performed at proficiency.
Deb, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Can you just say what proficiency level is on regions?
Proficiency level on regions is the same. It's when you're scoring above a 65 on the regions. So it's a little bit different. I don't mean to say that it was the same because we don't do the numerical grading
right.
on the elementary, but it's anything that has a passing score, right, as opposed to the 3 and 4 system. What they actually do use a numerical performance system, but mostly we pay attention to the fact of the 65 or greater. So our proficiency in the Algebra 1 was 65%, geometry was 56%, and Algebra 2 was 65% for our students meeting proficiency on the June 2025 Regents exam, all with significant increases if you look to the 2022-2023. So there might be some fluctuation from last year, but we are seeing growth over time, which is something that I definitely wanted to point out. In biology, the first year of administration, we had 70% of our students meeting proficiency. And in chemistry and physics, while we had decreases in proficiency in 2024-2025 from 2023-2024, we did see increases overall from 2022 and 2023. In chemistry, 44% of our students performed at proficiency, and in physics, 76% of our students were proficient on the 2025 assessment. One important finding from 2023 to 2024 to the 2024-2025 school year was the participation rate of students, particularly in these two exams, the chemistry and the physics exam. When you look at the chemistry exam taken in 2023 to 2024, we had a 91% proficiency rating, 91% participation rating, and in 2024 to 2025, it was then 70%. So from 91 to 70%, and in physics, it went from 61% to 37%. So there's a lot of reasoning behind this.
When you say participation
Participation rate is how many students are taking the test that are eligible to take the test
Right, who
because
were
they're
in the
sitting in classes
courses,
that are
right.
Regents courses.
They were in the courses, and then some of them opted not to take the
Right.
Regents exam.
So the Regents are getting a little tricky, right? Because the Regents aren't part of your final grade point average. They're not part of your final grade if you're a student. So they're uncoupled, if you will, from your, from your final grades. They're also no longer listed on our transcripts because colleges don't necessarily look at the Regents exam. There are 5 core Regents exams that are graduation requirements, depending on what happens with the Blue Ribbon Commission and how they change graduation requirements. The other Regents, for example, chemistry and physics, are really Regents that you would take if you wanted to get an advanced designation on your diploma, which still exists until it doesn't exist because it is being phased out. So you really can't look at Regents the way that you looked at them maybe when we were in school. You really have to look at them for a different light right now. And there are districts that only administer the 5 core Regents. We've thought about that in the past. We really didn't want to take the opportunity away from students. But I spoke to Emerly Martinez today about this, and we really need to start to make sure that our children know why they're taking a chemistry Regents, why they're taking a physics Regents, and if they don't need to take it because they're not pursuing that advanced designation on their diploma, we really have to start to think of, making sure that they at least have that knowledge and that information so that they can make the right decisions for themselves. Go ahead.
Does a non-participatory student play into these numbers at all?
No, but I think it's just changing the end size, the end size, the students that are taking the test, and then if we really drill deeper into it, there's a large number of our students that are taking honors courses that aren't bothering to take the Regents because they are not trying to pursue an advanced designation on their diploma. So it's more of trying to see what you want, what is best in terms of for the children to take that exam or not take the exam and why they're taking it. I know that there are neighboring districts who maybe one child takes the physics exam and then they have a 100% passing rate. So if we're going to compare ourselves to that district, it's a little dicey. Just something to consider. I just wanted everybody to realize that the Regents, especially when you pass those 5 core Regents, it's a different landscape.
Deb,
Mhm.
when do you think the timeline is for the phasing out of it? Because you said it's going to be phased out, and you just don't know, it's just going to stay.
I know that they're phasing it out over 3 to 4 years. I think it's the graduates that are coming in. I can get that. I don't want to give the wrong years for the differences in the graduation requirements. So what I wanted to say about the participation rate is that is something that needed to be investigated more closely as they are not core Regents exams and not required for graduation. In U.S. history, we had 89% of our students at proficiency, and in global history, 88% of our students reaching proficiency. In English, we had 88% of our students at proficiency, which are very stable results across social studies and English. They've been the same for quite a while, even if we went back some years. At the high school level in math, we are providing professional learning throughout the year focused on the NWEA administration, data interpretation, and effective communication of results. Last year, we paused the NWEA in mathematics at the high school, and this year was a restart year for the assessment screening tool. The Director of Teaching, Learning, and Assessment, 7 to 12, has been instrumental in this work. As a department, the team teachers are analyzing the state assessment results for Grade 8, Algebra 1, and Geometry to identify teaching gaps and to plan and implement responsive instructional strategies to support student learning. Again, Dr. Paul Riccomini will be working as a consultant, centering on high-impact strategies for scaffolding and retention with an overarching focus of enhancing student understanding and long-term mastery of mathematical concepts. And there will be a comprehensive review of math course offerings to ensure a clear understanding of course descriptions, student workload expectations, and requisite skills needed for student success. So that goes a little bit into what we were talking about with the Regents as well. And then in science, at the high school level, there are changes for this year for physics and chemistry and earth and space science. Teachers are focused on implementing the newly required state laboratory investigations. This will be the first year that we're doing that, first year of a new Regents exam in those 3 courses also for us. Not leaving biology out, as that was the new year last year for biology, and the teachers were working on the same things and continuing to work on that. Working collaboratively on curriculum planning, the teachers are integrating investigative tasks and shifting instructional practices toward inquiry-based learning aligned with the New York State Science Learning Standards. E&L partner teachers are studying the standards and planning for effective instruction for the multilingual learners. We are continuing to focus on instructional resources, materials, and assessments to ensure alignment with the New York State Learning Standards, the New York State Science Learning Standards, and there will be a comprehensive review of high school course offerings to ensure a clear understanding, again, of the course descriptions, student workload expectations, and requisite skills needed for student success. So not as gatekeepers, but just as being very explicit and very honest of this is what this course is going to involve, this is what it's expecting for you to come in and be successful in this course, this is the workload that you're going to see in this course. The English department is focused on access for all learners and reducing barriers for multilingual learners through the use of data analysis and language objectives. This is supported by professional learning opportunities and collaboration of co-teaching teams. The NWEA data is being analyzed to inform differentiation of instruction and, in turn, to increase student growth and achievement. As we saw at the middle school level, other areas of focus include academic goal setting with students and the continued refinement of portfolios that reflect their growth, goals, progress towards mastery, and journey towards achieving the attributes identified in the portrait of a graduate. And not to be repetitive, but just to show you that what we're doing in middle school, we're doing in high school, we're really committed to this K through 12 experience, pre-K through 12 experience. In social studies, and this slide is a little bit more involved, and that is because we don't have a social studies exam until you hit the Regents, and we don't have a state standardized exam until you get to the Regents in high school. So we wanted to be able to include the K through 12 experience for social studies. So in social studies, starting in the elementary schools, we are using text sets to build content knowledge in alignment with grade level standards. Our teachers have been trained or will be trained in the Hodgman method through the Writing Revolution for informational writing. At the middle school and high school levels, they are implementing project-based learning in our project-based learning in our course design. We are utilizing School AI to support student learning. Something else that we should talk about, in more depth, because we've had a lot of professional development on School AI. A lot of people are using it, and it's wonderful in terms of being able to open up opportunities not only for our students, but also for our teachers. All grade 7 and grade 8 students participated in a civics action project, ensuring that they enter high school with 1 foundational civic point for the seal of civic readiness. That project was met with a 95% completion rate, meaning that 95% of our 8th graders coming into high school already have a point for the seal of civic readiness. And also, in the U.S. history, we are striving to increase mastery rates on the New York State U.S. history regents. Currently, we have 33%. And our goal is to increase that by 15 to 20% on top of the 33%. And what is mastery? Mastery is when you're passing the regents with an 85 or above. 138 students earned the seal of civic readiness at graduation in 2025. and they designed and implemented authentic community projects to enhance our community, and we want to continue and we want to expand that. And I've said before, we want to include all students. We want to really make sure that all students have an opportunity to earn that seal at graduation. Our course offerings creatively integrate concepts of economics and government. One example being presented on this slide is about the use of food systems and assessments that focus on applied learning and project-based evaluations of that learning. And finally, the integration of complex text to build vocabulary and foster discussion around social studies content. So I hope that through this presentation, you've seen a lot of interconnectedness between literacy and the content subjects and the work that's happening continuously in that K through 12 environment. And wow, that was a lot. And when you think about the attributes of the portrait of a graduate, that students are academically prepared, that they're creative innovators, that they're critical thinkers, effective communicators, global citizens, reflective, and future-focused, I think that everything that we do leads into that portrait of a graduate. So you might think that I'm finished, but I'm not, because I am going to invite Dr. Kathy Barpolis, the Director of Elementary Teaching and Learning Assessment, Pre-K through 6, and Christopher DiMattia, the Director of Secondary Teaching, Learning and Assessment, 7 to 12, up to the podium. And Dr. Barpolis will provide a brief, smile intended, overview of the NWE MAP growth results from our most recent fall 2025 administration, which really just finished. Okay?
I know that we're going to look at some NWA data right now.
Just
But
a little bit.
I think just looking at data, even as a teacher in a classroom, it's uncomfortable and hard sometimes among colleagues. And as a board, I think it's like critical to our charge as a board to have you do these presentations for us, because we need to see this, and we need to see it by grade, and we need to see it by school, and it's helpful. We all go to like annual exams with our own doctors, right? And if they just looked at us and said, "You look great, like see you in a year," we would never accept that, right? So we don't want to accept it with our kids in our district. And I think, we get blood work, you get news back about cholesterol, and it requires lifestyle changes. I think, we get some results like this, and it prompts us to make some instructional choices and conversations and help us
There are some
inform.
differences between a doctor's report than our reports, but I get it. I get the
So,
analogy.
I mean, we can dig down into the data, but I mean, some of it is concerning, and I think it's important to have the conversations. And there is a difference between a medical doctor and
Yeah,
this
there's-
data, but the point should not be lost that this is critical to what we do. And
It's critical to what we do.
Conversations need to happen at grade levels and among and with teachers and administrators to make sure we're making, the improvements that we can. We have a lot of instructional tools. We have the NWA.
We have a lot of
we
instructional
have a lot of excellent
tools,
programs in this
and at
district.
this
We
point,
have
I believe that
air-conditioned
we are
classrooms in this district.
extremely
I mean,
data-rich.
We have a lot of resources, so I think it's important. And I know this is just a broad view, but we can dig down, and you can, and look by
And we do.
ENL. You can look by
We
special
do.
ed, right? You could look by poverty level. You could look by gender. So we would never want to see that presented publicly, but I think it's important to know that we have access to that data, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this data is not public yet because it is still preliminary. It will be considered public data. I mean, it's public because we're presenting it, but it's not officially public until it's presented on the New York State data website, and that hasn't happened yet. But yes, we have all iterations of this data drilled down to the point of, data overload.
Yeah.
So you can either get lost in data, or you look at data, as I say to Kathy all the time, you look at data, and the reason why you're looking at data is to form instruction and to improve student outcomes. So you don't want to just look at numbers all the time, because it's not just all about numbers, it's a lot about all the other stuff that we do. And that's why I want to make sure when I show the data that I contextualize it in the hard work that's going on in the classrooms.
Well, I don't want to, there's hard work being done in the classrooms. I don't
Yeah.
want it to make it sound like I'm
No,
implying
no,
there's
no,
not hard work
no.
in the classroom. So there's absolutely work being done in the classrooms, for sure.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question?
Yeah, sure.
For the NWEA, how do parents know what that information means? Like, once the scores come out and you get the information, you're saying we have all this information, but how do parents know what's going on with their?
Right now, we're using the NWA. I think that this is in our second full year of implementation. And the NWEA is a screening tool for our teachers, right? So parents have access to the data if they want it. They've been asking us for it. And right now, we're training our teachers and our administrators on kind of explaining the parent reports, the family reports that will go home. Like, you can't send something home unless our teachers feel really comfortable being able to explain what's in it. So Kathy can talk a little bit more about that. We only have 2 data slides, and then she can answer questions about NWEA. Okay?
Thank you.
And Chris. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you. And a big thank you to the members of our Board of Education, Dr. Ricca, and also Dr. Hand for all of your support. So I'm going to talk a little bit about NWA MAP and also explain a little bit and answer questions. So I'm Kathy Barpoulos, and this is also Chris DiMattia. We work very closely together as the directors of elementary and secondary. The NWA MAP, and it stands for the Northwest Evaluation Association Measure of Academic Progress, is an adaptive assessment, which means that the difficulty of each question is based on how well a student answers all of the previous questions. As a student answers the question correctly, the questions become more challenging. And in this way, the assessment can calibrate and adjust as a student takes the assessment. So NWA MAP was chosen, and it was a result of our district MTSS steering committee using a process and as our universal screener for mathematics in grades K through 12 and for reading in grades 5 through 11. It's administered in the fall, winter, and spring, and it's aligned with the New York State Next Generation Mathematics Learning Standards and the New York State Next Generation English Language Arts Learning Standards for K through 12. NWA MAP helps provide teachers with actionable insights to help inform instruction. So we're going to move on and take a look at the map for math first. And as you look, yes.
Stand for on the last slide.
And so RIT, that's the Roush, that's the RIT score, and that is the Roush unit. And it's arbitrarily, it is named after Roush, and it's a unit that is used to measure student progress. So we look at how the student's RIT score changes from their fall to their winter and spring. It is.
And the reason why we're working on reporting to parents.
Exactly. So as we look at the math data, the data for the NWA MAP growth in mathematics shows that for the fall administration, which took place during the month of September, our students' median percentile falls in the 41st to the 60th percentile range at each grade level, with the 9th grade students falling in the 61st percentile, which positions them well for continued academic success and growth. So that's where you see the median percentile, the yellow. You'll notice it's listed on the left just after each grade level, and you'll also notice in the middle of the chart, that is where we see the percentages of our students falling in that median percentile. The as I said, in addition, the NWA data helps teachers target instruction to support student learning and increase student achievement. So in other words, our teachers can look ahead at their curriculum maps, and they can also use the NWA data to see how they're going to add scaffolds of instruction and really target the instruction.
And as we're looking at this chart, you'll notice that 9th grade, the one in green there, has a 61st percentile noted. It's important to note that students at the high school for this year, if they're in an algebra, a geometry, or an algebra 2 class, any course aligned to those three, they were tested with NWEA. And this is meant to parallel the fact that we go up to 11th grade for the reading side. So there are actually some students who are in a more accelerated track who already in 10th grade are past those 3 core classes. So 10th and 11th and 12th grade, some of those students are not represented in the data. So you see it sort of peaks at 61, and those numbers would be, yes, question?
Could you go to the mic? He's talking to the microphone because
Oh.
they're live.
Okay, I'm sorry. What I was clarifying is that in the high school, 9th through 12th grade, only students in courses aligned to algebra, geometry, or algebra 2 participate in the exam.
Just a quick question. Going back to like the region scores, is there any way to align these kinds of results to what's happening on the regions?
That's a great question. There is a tool for teachers called the Learning Continuum. And what that will do is line up the standards and allow them back to that RIT score that every student has. And it'll allow a teacher to go in and reference how a student did on this exam and look at what standards they're ready to learn next. And in that way, it can make it a valuable tool as teachers are planning and looking to differentiate instruction within any of those courses. But the NWEA is an overall, not specifically zeroed in to one class. Great question.
As we look at this slide, it depicts the reading growth in NWA MAP, and you'll notice the median percentile in grades 5 through 12 also falls within that 41st to 60th percentile range, which again puts our students in solid positioning for continued growth and grade level achievement. We look forward to continuing to use the NWA data to inform instruction and implement responsive instructional strategies.
So there's 2 things that we wanted to mention in terms of next steps, and of course we hope to be back to be able to share more. We just have administered this for the first time for this year in the fall, but after the winter administration, a whole new dimension opens up for us, which is growth, and it allows us to track our programs and see how students across all angles are growing. And this gives additional opportunities for us and our directors and our teachers to take a look and see what those trajectories look like for students to make sure that we're maximizing in all of our instructional spaces. And I also would be remiss if I didn't mention, this is very much a big part of the MTSS District-Wide Steering Committee work. This universal screener allows us to really have some bedrock as one of the data points as we look at students as a universal screener across the district.
This is the first time we've administered it 9 through 11 this year, right?
Yes, we keep adding on grade levels as we implement more professional learning for our teachers. And so it has, as we implement more professional learning for all of our teachers. And so we really have focused on bringing in the high school teachers as well.
And the winter administration will allow you to real-time make changes within a school year. So we're not waiting for the following school year to make changes. You can actually do them intra-school year if something is or is not working.
Exactly, and that's what makes that winter administration, which is mid-January to mid-February, so helpful to our teachers and to our principals as we look ahead in the curriculum maps, and we can make adjustments to what scaffolds we can help provide, to what supports we need, and if we need to bring in additional resources to assist.
And because this is an exam that is used nationally, we can look at national data as well.
Thank you. Yes, that was a very important point because this year they changed the norms and they updated the norms. So now we have this norm referenced assessment where we can compare how our students as an aggregate are doing compared with students across the country.
And with math, it seems a little more clear, black and white. With like the English portion, though, this is just reading comprehension, right? We're not assessing writing.
Correct.
Right? Whereas the regions assesses reading comprehension as well as writing.
Yes.
Right? So
And
if
we
we,
also don't have it for K through 4 because we're using DIBELS.
The DIBELS, right?
DIBELS,
okay.
Yes.
So the power of this is really for individual students. Like as a screening tool, you're really administering this to all of your students so that you can see what students need additional support, what students are at grade level, what students need extensions. So we can look at this programmatically, but the design of the assessment is really as a screening tool.
Mm-hmm.
How do the teachers in high school use this? Because they have obviously all different students. Like, how does, and it's different from, and I guess middle school too, because they have all different teachers as well. Whereas in elementary school, it's one teacher and one student. So they can make adjustments. Does that same thing happen at the middle and high school level?
So that's a great question.
It's math in ELA.
And I do have to say that all of the teachers are really wanting to see this stuff. So Kathy, you're up at the mic, so you can explain work risk, explain how, you know, this is like the science teachers are interested in seeing the social studies.
Oh, yes. All of the teachers in all subject areas have asked to be a part of the professional learning. And so as a result, we have invited teachers in other subject areas because they are also able to see how students are progressing and then look at their curriculum and how this can help to inform how they may need to want to bring in some extra scaffolds or looking at the makeup, what they would like to bring in terms of extensions of learning as well. So they can really meet the needs of all students in their classes, if that helps.
Yes, I was just trying to understand, is this how the high school teachers use it? I know it's math and reading or math and ELA, but math and ELA applies to everything, right, in high school? Because you need those two skills for everything.
So it's a good question. So we also, just in terms of the platform itself, the teachers that go in there, they see all of their students. So it's not like it's just in the math and ELA. So as we've been doing all this professional training, for example, on the 4th, when we had 5 facilitators in from NWEA, a lot of that was focused on classroom instruction. What do you do with this when you're sitting down to plan? And there is a lot there, but students can see it across the content. You may look at that differently if you're a math teacher relative to a science teacher. Some of the real-time things that I've seen with teachers doing is making sure that if you're, let's say, a science teacher and you have the NWA and you know what the reading levels are across your classroom, you're making sure that you've got resources throughout all of that on both ends. It allows you to differentiate appropriately. Math in the same way, if you're coming up on something, to make sure that you can meet students where they are, no matter what content you're teaching, relative to the ELA and math.
We'd like to thank everyone for your support with the professional learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hand. Thank you, Dr. Parpolis. Thank you, Mr. DiMattia. And I think, you know, this goes a long way to demonstrate that, and as the board knows, we've incorporated all of these academic growth metrics into our annual goals and objectives. And really, you know, to Dr. Letizia's point, education in so many ways is an individualized experience. And one of the biggest challenges that our colleagues have, that we as teachers have, is working to individualize the experience based upon the learners who are in front of us. It's not going to be the same people that we did last year. Every year brings a new group of students and a new set of needs. And these types of supports and these types of assessments, I think, go a long way to being able to help to provide some additional information to be able to make those mid-year, mid-marking period adjustments and corrections to best support our students. So I really appreciate you all going through and sharing the growth factors, and certainly really appreciate all of the hard work in the classroom that our colleagues have undertaken. And this is going to be forever work, right? Because like we all know, you know, we need to not only inspire the engagement level of all of our students, but we also have to make sure that we're providing them with other supports even before it becomes time for learning. And the White Plains City School District has done a great job, I think, in a lot of ways of doing that, feeding our children, you know, taking care of them, making sure that their basic needs are met so they get into the classroom and be able to be their best for learning.
Can I ask one more question? So how do the students get this information too, or explain to them, or is it like reviewed with them as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is like, these are snapshots of the assessments that we give. We have the NICETO, the NICE flat. I mean, we have stamped assessments, we have quarterly assessments, we have midterm assessments.
Unit tests, quizzes, do nows, exit tickets.
Do now, remember, do now.
Yep. Lots of
Okay.
assessments.
Is that it, Buster?
That concludes the superintendent's report.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. So next, we'll move to the public participation part of our meeting. Is there any? It's crowded. And we don't have any public participation. So now we'll go to our consent agenda. So we have summary action items 4 through 8. And may I have a motion?
So moved.
Any questions?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to draw your attention to item 4B, this month's list of donations. And again, we are grateful for these very, very generous donations. A $450 donation from Tamar Rubenstein and Michael Greenberg for the Highlands Middle School Spring Musical. $776.70 donation from the George Washington Girls Tennis Salt for the U.S. Open trip held in August 2025. A $3,000 grant from the Friends of the White Plains Public Schools for the outdoor classroom program at Post Road for all fifth grade students. $4,300 donation from Mr. Fred Singleton. Again, congratulations, Coach, to cover the expense of the bus to Thetford, Vermont for the cross-country team. 40 sneakers donated from Nordstrom for Church Street School. And then 3 grants for our middle schoolers that were approved by the White Plains Middle School PTA for the following. Grant number 1 is a request for T-shirts, which will be used for class trips, including the upcoming Bronx Zoo trip. It helps to keep everybody in track of everybody. And grant number 2, also T-shirts for Eastview 6th grade, which will be used to promote and unify identity and school spirit at Eastview. And grant number 3 from Eastview, funding for the traditional Indian dance troupe interactive instruction at Eastview's International Celebration, which will take place on January 21st, 2026. Thank you so much for all of those generous donations.
Thank you, and we are very fortunate indeed to be in a generous community, and as usual, our friends of White Plains. All in favor? Aye. Thank you. Next, we'll move to individual action items. Individual action item A, it's be it resolved in the event that the building principal is absent from the building during the 25-26 school year, the list of individuals as itemized in our backup will serve as acting principal for short-term student discipline matters pursuant to Section 3214 of the New York State Education Law and the respective buildings as set forth in our documentation. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Oh, do we have any questions? Did you want to comment?
I'd just like to thank Dr. Tessick for the great idea.
Yes, yes, yes.
Will this item in the future be moved to earlier in the school year?
Yeah, this will be part of reorganization.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. Any other questions? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Next, we go on to individual action item B, the recommended approval of the request for an extension as per CSCA contract of the paid period of absence beyond 30 working days due to an accident in the line of duty for the following employees as itemized in our backup. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Do we have any questions? All in favor? Aye. Next, we have item C. Yes. C, yeah. Yeah. The recommended approval of the amendment to the inventory of positions for the following teacher assistant and teacher aide as itemized in the backup. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Any questions on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next, under individual action item D, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby approves and authorizes the board president and superintendent of schools to execute a certain settlement agreement and general release with employee 9533 signed by such employee on October 29th, a copy of which has been previously reviewed by the members of the Board of Education. May I have a motion?
Second.
Do we have any questions? All in favor? Aye. Next, we move to individual action item E, which is the recommended approval of the extension of the administrative appointment of Joseph Spiro from December 1st, 2025 to June 30th at a per diem daily rate of $6.50. May I have a motion? Do we have any questions? All in favor? Aye. So next, we have individual action item F. Resolved that the Board of Education of the White Plains City School District approve the overnight trip for the White Plains High School varsity softball team to attend softball spring training in Orlando, Florida from March 26, 2026 through April 2nd, 2026. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All in favor? Aye. That's nice. Okay. Next, we move to individual action item G. The resolve that the Board of Education of the White Plains City School District approve the overnight trip for the White Plains High School boys varsity basketball team to attend the hoop ball tournament and visit the Basketball Hall of Fame Museum in Springfield, Massachusetts from January 16, 2026 through January 18, 2026. May I have a motion? Any questions? All in favor? Aye. That is a really nice trip because I've been there. Next, we go to individual action item H. The recommended action is the approval of the overnight trip for the White Plains High School Seed group. That is to attend to the Taconic Outdoor Center in Cold Spring, New York, from December 10th, 2025 through December 11th, 2025. And this is an overnight trip. May I have a motion? Any questions?
Is Charlie going this year?
That's the question.
Might be babysitting.
Yeah, that was waiting, yes. Yep. All in favor? Aye. Next, the last item that we have is that we have some policies on our agenda for our first reading. Policy 8635, 5550, 5500. These are edits. 5500 as well, sample policy and edits. Do you want to?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to the policy committee. A lot of hard work went into making these revisions. These will bring us in line and updated with the requirements in state law and regulation, and we're looking forward to have them on for December.
Right.
But again, thanks to the policy committee. We went through every word.
I know you did.
Yes, we did.
I know you did. I know every comma.
We got them.
And if you,
Sorry, the revision of these, so this comes from NISBA, and then we, in response to NISBA, update our local policy.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
so the
someone had
templates
asked.
come from NISBA and they're reviewed by their legal department, and then our policy committee receives them. Typically, the White Plains City School District really looks at required policy. We don't get into local or sort of, you could choose. We want to stick with what the law is in most cases. But then the policy committee then does, and I will say, very, very good at this, really does a good job of kind of refining the language without losing the legal context, not making it redundant, correcting some errors, things of that nature. Yeah.
and we don't need to vote on this. This is just for information. Yeah. So next we'll move to board discussion for board committee reports. Of course, we met HR and discussed confidential matters. I will ask you, Craig, to comment on Finance Committee as well as your visit here.
Sure. The Finance Committee last week had a capital markets update from Capital Market Advisors. The portfolio that we have is an extremely conservative portfolio consisting of mostly U.S. government treasuries. We are earning a yield on that portfolio in excess of the Fed funds rate, about 35 to 40 basis points above the Fed funds rate. which is great considering it is as conservative a portfolio as we can have. So they're doing a very nice job for us. And we also had a facilities update from Javier Hernandez, who covered a lot of the same material that Trident and H2M covered tonight. And Javier did a great job presenting the material to the Finance Committee, and we appreciate his assistance.
Mr. Marchand, you want to talk just a little bit also about the Moody's?
Sure.
Yeah.
We had a meeting with the Moody's rating agency in advance of the bonds that will be issued by the school district. Dr. Rickard, Dr. Vicario Taish did a fantastic job presenting the school's case to Moody's. It included a tour of our very fine city, which the city of White Plains participated in as well and supported. It really is a joint effort with the city and the school district to present the city and the school district in the best light possible. And then we had a very frank discussion with them in this very room to really explain to them the budget process that we go through, the 5-year strategic plan that we go through, the annual budget cycle that we go through, which of course, as Cheryl pointed out, started already this year with public comment, which was extremely well attended. So the Moody's visit overall, I think, went very, very well, and we will see what they come out with.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. That was an exciting visit, I would think. So thank you, thank you, thank you. So the Wellness Committee meeting agenda and info is here as an attachment. Do you want to discuss your committee? No, that's me. That's here. That's here. No, the Zoom is here because even though it was on, I had a meeting at the last minute at work, but it won't happen again. But the one thing I do appreciate is that the Zoom is here should you want to see it. I'm always excited about this committee. I have a lot to say about the wellness of our students and how we take care of them, you know, athletically and just on a daily basis. So hopefully I'll be able to come back with more. But
I was just going to add, it makes sense, I think, to
Mm-hmm.
just recognize Miss
Yes.
Magalay P.
Yes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
she and the team, the
Yes.
chef, everybody working in food services really has been doing a tremendous job this
They're
year.
really,
Yeah, so
Yeah.
thanks to Ms. Prado and everybody in
Yeah.
food services.
and the fact that we get to, you know, sample anything, it's, you know, we can say that we know, we eat what you eat, right? We can really say that, right? So I think that's you know, it's an important component.
Yes.
So
policy met.
I was gonna
and-
just,
oh,
I was just gonna say one
Sorry.
more thing. It's
What?
okay.
Sorry.
Don't worry, don't worry. I was gonna say, you know, finance, you know, and Craig has covered that, and if there's anything else on the other committees.
Yeah, I was just going to mention policy. So
Yeah.
we did the first reading. The policies that we did the first reading for had to do with data privacy, data security, student records, and student privacy.
Special Ed Committee met and discussed the ongoing work with our contractors regarding the audit and bringing forward how to implement that work in progress and hopefully be able to bring more information at the December meeting.
Yeah, and just to add one other thing, there are attachments from the Finance Committee on the agenda, you know, should you want to read it as well. It was a great, it was a great meeting. All of them are great, don't get me wrong. But it's great because it's so complex, and when it's broken down to where, like Craig, of course, is, you know, this is his wheelhouse, finance. But when I understand it and I'm getting, like, I'm grooving on it, I really, really appreciate that. So,
I'll add, curriculum and instruction met as well, and we saw the presentation today, and I think all the commentary pretty much touched on everything that was discussed, but I'll just mention a couple of highlights. So Chris did mention MTSS, which is Multi-Tiered Systems of Support. That's the acronym. And that steering committee has met, I think, maybe 4 times at this point. And it really is about supporting all students, and the NWEA assessment that was discussed is the screener. There's a state pilot that is also taking place, and we're aligned with that. Also, the staff development, which was mentioned a little. So there was staff development on Election Day that had to do with NWEA. There was AI staff development. There was physics and chemistry training at Putnam Northern Westchester BOCES. And the health teachers also engaged in training having to do with co-occurring disorders.
Not all on staff development.
Not all one day.
Right.
Very long day.
Right.
Can I add one thing, if you don't
Different
mind?
teachers, different things.
One thing I left out on the Moody's visit that we did have, the district is currently rated AA1, which is the second highest rating that Moody's offers. AAA is the highest, AA1 is the second highest. Being AA1 is extremely important. It allows us ready access to the municipal bond market, as well as saving the taxpayers a tremendous amount in interest. The lower the rating, the higher the rate that you need to offer the market to take your bonds. So being AA1 puts us in a very, very strong position with the market. So I just want to add that piece.
Thank you, thank you. So
Just two late items
Yep.
to let the board know.
Yep.
Thanks to Dr. Hand and Tina Kelly. The White Plains City School District has been awarded, in part with a couple other school districts in the region, a grant that will allow access to our students to the Dolly Parton Library, the Imagination Library, where all of the children will receive age-appropriate books who sign up mailed to them, so they can begin their own home libraries. That's awesome. And we also had a student actually organize and participate, Native Plant Olympics, which I have to also thank Dr. Hand. Dr. Hand spent about 2 hours at the Native Plant Olympics last week, and we had students at our schools, Rochambeau, the high school, and GW, who won awards in the Native Plant Olympics. So very cool.
that is, I do too. That is very interesting. So, yeah, before we adjourn, just to thank John Shepherd and John Mishavitz, and Matt, what's Matt's last name, John? Sorry? Okay, Matt Lampel, so we can call you by your proper government name. Yes. Yes. So thank you for what you do to make our board meetings accessible to the public. It's very inclusive, especially for the parents who can, or guardians, or anyone, to get here at the designated time. It's a very important function, so we will remind you at every meeting how important it is, and we will say thank you at the end of every meeting. So thank you. Thank you, Doc, our cabinet. Thank you for everything. We appreciate it. Thank you for all you do. So without further ado, may I have a motion to adjourn our meeting?
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.